I'm in a kind of a strange mood today. I don't really have a description or anything. It's just I describe it one way only that I can think of. It has something to do with a sense of being defeated and or emptied, in that sense. That and you know, it's kind of like often I have a very creative, spontaneous kind of humor, but in this case, it's not really there. And it has something to do with this happens when we get a sense of change is due, and it's something like that, an emptiness that is, most people, when they get even close to that emptiness, especially in their mind, get scared, and they run for cover inside their thoughts and ideas and or other outward media like television and so forth. And you know, people are afraid of the quiet and afraid of being alone, or many are, or they consider that that means that they're somehow not worthy because they're alone. And that's not the case at all. And of course, we're never really alone. I thought of that one just now also. But so just putting that there, and has something to do with the things I'm hearing that are being kind of pushed at me with the news. I'm not searching for them, but I did. You know, you hear certain things, and you might, a person who's curious or independently interested in knowing things or being aware, even that context, yeah, sure, you might look something up and find out what it is actually going on. And I was recalled of something that happened with the Eckankar way back when, at the beginning of my studies, called the worship of Moloch, which is basically the worship of personality. And there were two or three stories, archetypal kind of, two or three of these were presented as very important. One was the seed, the acorn planter, or the seed planter. Another is the worship of Moloch. And I remember seeing the Star Trek episode where they went to a place where they were worshiping some kind of a god in a temple, or a structure that looked like a head, or with a stage or something like that, where all the people are dancing around Gaga, like going to a rock concert or a music event like that, and so forth, and you know, which is that worship of personality. And also the Kalam God, you know, the Talons of Time story, and which is related, which is that people are objectified by two things: their personal and the time, their space and their time. So time is the time makers that are existing to put these identifying context into people's minds, so that they will continue to worship time, space, matter, energy, individuals expressing those, and or those who have taken control, such as this is the power of the alien, or the iconic worship that had to do with cultures, Egypt, wherever, where they would worship also personality and character, and have identifying marks. In the current Judeo-Christian, it has to do with the holidays, so-called holy days. And so that's another one that catches everyone's attention in the societies. So my wife this morning, just now, had a joke that was something like, I'm about worship. You know, I worship before you're on your deathbed, and make sure that you worship Buddha, and or Buddha knows, and Christ. I forgot the joke. Sorry. And Allah, Allah is, or something like that. He is, and Christ loves, or whatever. And make sure you do these three things before on your deathbed, and then you'll be taking care of all the bases. Right. And a small concept like that has enough power, I'd say. And they use this as the term because it's worship. Again, it's that power thing, having agendas and manipulations and alienations. So I'm recognizing that. And I guess it's kind of a sobering intelligence to have. It has to come along for everyone who wants to advance, at least, let's say, beyond this plane and the iconic worship, idolizations, and so forth, that we also do with nature. Nature is so wonderful and perfect, and maybe, and not disregarding it. It's just that, again, that context is put out there that we should, honor this beauty, but then the people don't live it. They're not with it. They don't really accept it. They go back to the materialistic human society, or worship personalities and countries and nationalities and religions and so forth and so on. So there it is again, and it's sobering, and you have to take a number of jumps through that. Hoops, the Indians called it. You have to jump through the hoop, I guess a better example would be an Olympic athlete with the 5 hoops or circles, and you have to kind of go beyond that, through it. And probably there are 5. I would say, as my study of astrology and or what I call the solar arts, the real astrology, and arrange that so that I see beyond it, and at the same time I'm having this identification that is beyond the local system, solar system, that is worshipped as a kind of with personality as well, but also in general as a so-called connection to the universe, but mostly used in a personal way to give us character and associations, whether they be animal, mammal, or human types, and so forth. Same thing. And then to see, though, that we have to identify that we have, I think, 2 bodies, a solar and a universal. And those 2 bodies, just like we have a physical body with a bipolar brain, hemispheres, and how the eye works with 2 eyes and taking in the image and reversing it through the retina, and then turning upside down, and then I would say, when we look at it, everything's right side up, but the brain is interpreting it, the bipolar, through the eyes and the ears as well, and etc. The senses, the five senses. So I associate this because of our five bodies that we have in the universal sense, or I guess I would say more like our solar body, that can reference as a whole the universal and our physical, worldly, um, with the senses and with our other, with our bodies of emotion, mind, cause, and our real awareness, I guess would be the solar, or it's through the light there, that allows us, the sun allows us to see and to have all of the elements involved, and so forth and so on. There's the universal elements. Also, there's another, and there's five aspects of energy, or the five laws of science. And that's on the universal side, we'll say. I'm putting it together as a kind of a Kabbalah, which is, yes, related to the Kabbalah of the Judeo, but also relates to various ones that are related to the Persian and Babylonian, and probably, I'll say, Atlantis, etc., civilizations and or religious contexts, slash metaphysical, because it's all imbibed in together. That's another one that is part of these circles, the five circles that we have to go through, and also this duality of, well, I'm going to say it that way, but we have a solar body and we have our universal body, which has, both of them have two aspects to them. I guess I don't want to go too much further with that. This is kind of a getting into technical, trying to define something, and then people get into the technical definitions. And so there again, it's not, let's call it not a trap, but it is a consolidation and identification, which is used, and there really isn't any identification or words for these things. They all are isnesses. But it's good that we recognize is, I think the main one here is the solar and the universal body is two, with their five parts. And in the universal body, I also think that there's five universal gods. That is, in the group set that includes the galactic god. I could call it gods, G-O-D-Z, so not to mix it up with the word God. But our galactic center with all of its stars is a black hole, and it draws in everything, sucks everything into it. Eventually, I guess they're saying that eventually this galaxy will fold on itself. Nonetheless, that would be one. And I don't know if it's fair to relate it to the Kalam god or not. I sort of think that Kalam god is somewhat of a different element than that, and associated maybe, but it's being used. That is, the Kalam is saying itself is the god in order to use that element, so that people will associate with it and its concepts, which is really more the identification, iconic, idol, worship, and or death cult, life and death cults, and so forth. More bipolar crap that is part of our universe, though, and part of our solar being. Um, and, you know, it's not all isolated. This is a hard thing to understand, how everything can be all good and not good or bad, but all associated. We have this universal body that is our bridge to the real and to this, to the base lower level. It's a bad way of saying it, but the physical level, we'll call it that way, if we will, or the combination of physical, emotional, and mental of the three dimensions. And then the solar body is the bridge between that universal, all is, and us, our, and this isness that is here, that we are experiencing. As humans, we experience each individually. So we have the whole package, and at the same time, the recognition is never ending, so there's more to it at the same time. And I keep getting some of that all the time, or a lot, and I'm passing it along, I'd say, without trying to get into all these references and having, okay, let's create a science where we can study the stars and the sun in the more in the real way that they're connected and within each of us, as an example, or within each thing, and so forth. And so at the same time, again, we're creating or operating within a certain school, or schools of a framework that has been recognized. And then it, as happened in the early time of Eckankar, it was reorganized or established as some kind of format, which then it went through its evolution from there, or you could say that, or its de-evolution, because eventually you get into some more of a worship concept, which is why the story of the worship of Moloch was originally shared, my viewpoint on that. And so I was thinking of that story because it was shared in the Star Trek, and all the whole thing is actually shared in lots of movies, and the more dramatic or fantastic ones, and so forth. And so, yeah, we've got that. There's a movie called Forbidden Planet, which had a planet that had a huge computer that was created by these highly evolved beings that no longer exist. And somehow the computer had something to do with the end of their existence, or that these beings moved on from there. That's another way to look at that, I guess. But it's really a very cool movie on that, where the brain of the computer had the id as the key character that was in the mind of the man who had linked with the computer, the scientist who was studying it and living on the planet by himself and his daughter. So anyway, the space people, the astronauts, whatever, spaceship humans come to the planet and discover it, and then they're attacked by this lion-shaped creature of the id, psychic developed creature that wanted to eliminate them because they were against there was something of a competition with the scientist and what they had there on this planet and so forth. You know, of course, the humans wanted to get a hold of the technology, let's say, and so-called, yeah, we can save the universe and save our planet and whatever like that, you know, whatever the idea is. And that's what humans keep doing, and they're trying to do it again. And that's where this worship of Moloch comes back into the story, because we've got somebody and people, group of people, and wealthy, political, or scientific, and or whatever other business mind concept group that they think that they're got the best thing for everybody, and or they want to make sure that the presentation is such that it appears that way, even if they may not really care the truth, reality, life is at all, or have any recognition of it. And I guess that's pretty sobering as well. So that's probably the reason for my mood. But thanks, Val. Is that cool? Anything you think I should not have said or did say, or any other additions? It's a tough one, because we're trying to get through creation or seeing beyond it. And I think that the universal aspect I shared has that aspect to it. It is actually a true reality, life isness. And it's not in the old astrological, the local solar system model, or very little of it is. And there's so much more to it that has allowed for a kind of much broader concept about everything. And it includes, by the way, the, let's call it the three main world religions, or whatever concepts there, that does relate to us here. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Peter,
The way you
can
feel is.
I add a little thing?
Yeah.
These are all traps you're referring to. The easiest way around all of these traps that you're speaking about is raise your frequency. That's what you're going to do. So everything that's done, all these religions, they're just simply traps to keep your frequency lowers. Try to get around it. Hallelujah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ronald. Yes, we know that.
Hallelujah.
And Peter, yeah, the way you feel is how I feel when I have too much caffeine, I think. But let me just say that report on the update on the trail, hiking trail. Change the subject, but thank you for your share. But I'll share about the hiking trail. It's my part. Updated share on that. The Sunrise New Trail is that I found a route from the monument where the trail will start in Campo, California, to Tecate. Actually, a good Google map someone sent me, so it's really detailed. I think I can, from here, maybe do this a lot better, route the hike. But this section of the hike, the beginning, will be from Campo to Tecate, and it's a 5-hour hike, and it's partly part of the Border Patrol road, partly inland, and probably do it this week, depending on the rain, either Monday or Friday, depending on the weather. But that'll be a good beginning to start, and plus I'll meet other hikers, and I've already met some other people that are interested in self-sustaining communities that are hikers, and so it's a good beginning. I think it's good to start up in California, because then you have all this. We're getting support from these people too, and they like the idea about going south into Mexico, and a lot of people are already doing it with bikes, so we're going to do it with walking, hikers too. So that's the latest update on that.
Just wanted to add, that was really, I just got as part one of my story of the, I don't know, Beyond Creation or something like that. And the second part is more inclusive. So I'll go on. Just I was describing the solar body, and I will how to be aware, because what it really is becoming a golden guide or a new guide, aware, and recognizing that that's what I would say. If we have to say it, it's not personality, but has something to do with our real being that we're becoming. And that is very important. It's just not getting beyond the traps and then that's it. You know, okay, la la la, la di la la la. It's no, okay, now I'm in the real universes as a whole, and how am I going to carry myself? And that's part 2, I think, coming. I'll do that. Is that okay? I just want to describe
Yeah,
this one
that's good.
related to that.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Don.
What are you going to do? How are you going to relate to it? What are you going to contribute?
Yes, sir.
Okay.